Hello, welcome back to Longarm-Tech, where our mission is to delight the discerning quilter by helping them optimize the performance of their long arm quilting machines and frames. My name is Keith Hayes. Welcome today to the intermediate frame assembly video, where we will go through several techniques to help you optimize the flatness and performance of a frame. If you have not watched the basic assembly video, please do so. Today's focus will be on ensuring that we've got an exactly 90-degree angle between the legs and the frame top, how to do precision leveling of the frame top, how to align the top sections for flatness using the fasteners, and then how to shim the leg joints if needed to ensure flatness of the frame tops. Just like we discussed in the basic video, if you're moving a frame, I suggest that you label the joints so that you know what was connected to what. So if it was performing well before, you take at least one variable out of the reassembly process so that it can be made easier to reassemble in a flat and well-performing state. So if you watched the basic video, you saw that we used a digital scale to help us get the frame aligned. You can see we got an upgrade now. This is a little bit bigger digital scale, and what's really nice about it is you can put a tone on it so that if you're underneath the table leveling it, you don't have to have somebody watching the level or you climbing out from under the frame every 30 seconds to see if you got it level or not. So let me turn the tone on and see if we can get this frame level. And it took about 3/4 of a turn to get the table section flat. So we'll go through the rest of the frame, leveling it up. This is a rough level, and we'll obviously do the precision level after we get the frame sections put together. You see that the frame sections have just been placed into the legs. Nothing's bolted with the exception of a couple on the corner just to hold it in place. You can see we've got some severe alignment problems with one section being higher than another and the frame needing to be aligned so that it's straight on the sides along with the top. So follow them through and let's go see how we do that. So we saw earlier that we had a joint flatness problem between these two joints, about 1.5 millimeters. Let's look underneath it and see why. So when you look at the U-shaped channel that these frame sections sit in, you can see they're not sitting in it squarely. And the reason for that is I back out. As you can see, it's not at a 90-degree angle to the frame top. Let's see how far out it is. When I put the digital level on this leg, you can see instead of being 90 degrees, it's 88.10. So we got a couple of degrees, we got to straighten it out. Let's see if that will make the table section sit in flat in the U channel. Okay, we're now at 90 degrees. Let's see what that did to the how they sit in the U joint. And you can see it's close, but the one on the right still is not sitting in it flat like the one on the left. And when we look up top, we see the one on the right is actually a little bit higher than the one on the left. That would cause problems with the track if it was on top of it. We'll cover how to fix that in a little bit with a shim as we go through the rest of the sections on the frame. Now we're going to look at one of the side legs, and you can see it's 89.65 degrees, and this is further shown by looking at this square we put on. You can clearly see that there's a gap between the square and the leg. If it was straight vertical, there would not be a gap. So I'm going to tamp it into place and straighten it up. Okay, I'm going to attach the end couplers now because these do not affect the levelness and squareness of the frame. I can go on and torque the nut stand pretty good, but again, you don't need to torque them super tight, just good and snug. You don't want to strip the threads. I've seen that happen on more than one frame. And there's no particular order you need to tighten these in. Now that we've got this joint at a 90-degree angle, we can go ahead and tighten the fastener. So And you'll see I'm using a digital torque wrench to ensure I don't over tighten the fasteners and strip their threads. Now we're underneath the frame and we're going to put in the couplers on the connectors, fasteners on the U-bolts or U-joints of the leg section, but we're not going to tighten them. We're just going to snug them. You see I don't even have a wrench on them. I'm just using the socket. As noted on the basic video, if you have a headlight, it can be a really big help to let you see what you need to do to get the fastener in the slot and get it aligned properly. Another problem, if your legs are not vertical to the top, it'll make it really hard to get the fastener in. You can see you can barely see the top of the fastener slot. But when I rotate this leg to make it vertical, it opens up the whole thread section, make it nice and easy to put the fastener in. All right, you can see we're taking the headlight off now. Getting ready to align the top section. You can see this particular joint is pretty much close together. It's not exactly flat on the outside. We'll take care of that in a minute. But you also see this joint has about a 1/16 of an inch gap in it. And the reason for that is the two are not completely plumb with each other. Now you've got two ways to do this. You can jiggle it with putting your hand down on one end, or you can use a tool like this Irwin speed clamp that will let you pull the two frame sections together. So let's put it on and clamp it together, and there you go. Okay, now let's check the flatness of the joint. So we're going to take a straight edge, in this case a carpenter square. I'm going to slide the sharp point back and forth across the joint. As long as it slides smoothly and doesn't get caught, we're in good shape. I'm going to do it in both directions. And we're looking nice there. Now let's go look at the one on the other side of the frame. Oops. This is the one we looked at earlier that was not sitting well in the frame section. So we're going to have to go over there and align it to raise the lower side to the high side and get it nice and smooth and flat. Okay, we've got this leg at 0 degrees, but when we look up at the U channel, you can see the right section is sitting up higher than the left section, even though they've both been placed flat in there. And then when we look at the top, you can see the right section is a little bit higher than the left section. We're going to measure it and see exactly how much higher it is. This device is a digital vernier caliper, and it lets you measure in a couple of ways. You can open up the jaws and put it around an object. I'll test it on a screw here. It tells me the shaft of the screw is 0.2735 inches. You can also put it in millimeters and inch fractions. So it's about 7 millimeters thick. It also lets you can see on this side, it's got an arm that extends out from it. And the further the arm goes out, it tells you how far it's gone out. And then when it's all the way in, it should be at 0. So we're going to put it on the joint. We're going to rest the base on the high side, and we're going to drop the arm out and then drop the base out to see. And we are 0.6 millimeters too low on the left side. So what we're going to get some shims to build that up. And if you don't have a device like this vernier caliper, you can just do it by trial and error. Works pretty well. Now we have a mechanics feeder gauge set. These are available at any parts store and hardware store. They're $3 or $4, so not very expensive. And you can see they have all kinds of different sizes. And we're going to use the one that is 0.6 millimeters right here. It's 0.024 inches, 0.6 millimeters to raise that left section up to make it the same height as the right section. All right, here we go, pushing the shim underneath the top section. Sorry for the bad camera work there. Now we look up top and looks pretty flat. Let's get our straight edge and check it. Ooh, nice, right across it. And now check it. Right across it. So now we are ready to snug up the fasteners on the U channels. Perspective, you want to do the same thing to make sure you've got a nice smooth joint on both the inside and outside, so when you put the brackets on, they won't be trying to bend one of the frame sections to align themselves with them. Another point on the shims is if you don't have one that's the right thickness, you can add them together. So you can see in this case, we've got one that's 0.4 millimeters and another one that's 0.5 millimeters. So we add them together and would have a shim of 0.9 millimeters. Okay, we're working on our last joint here. And what if you don't have shims? So you can often get the fasteners to hold the pieces in alignment, at least initially. However, as the machine moves and vibrates on top of them, they will inevitably slip, but it could let you get a day or two out of it while you go to the store and get your shims to be able to lock the sections together so they're nice and flat. All right, now that we've got both the frame sections nice and straight and square, sitting in the U channels of the legs are 90 degrees to the top of the table, it's time to level it from left to right. So we're going to start with the center section. It's always best to start with the center. Make sure your legs, or the adjustments on the legs, have plenty of movement to move up and down. And let's see, the one facing me is 0.01 degrees out of level. You can see it wants the left side to go down, the right side to go up. When I look at the spirit bubble, you can see it's over to the left. It needs to move over to the right. We're going to check the rear side of the frame, see if it's much, if any, different. And looks like it's about the same. It wants the left side to go down and the right side to go up. So I'm going to turn the sound on, and we're going to go level this sucker. I didn't take much in the back. Let's go check the front now. And that took care of both sides. So we're going to repeat that on the left and right side, and then we'll be ready to go to the next step. Okay, you can see we've got the rails on and we're starting to check our levelness, and we're at 0. However, one thing you need to check is look at all your feet and make sure they're making good contact. You can see this one's nice and solid. This one you can see, and you can hear the levelness changing as I was shaking that. So we're going to tighten up this foot and get it in good contact with the floor and make sure our levelness doesn't change any. There we go, nice and solid. All right, we've leveled it all from left to right. We've leveled it, rechecked it, had to touch up a couple going from front to rear, but now everything's 0 degrees. You can hear the happy tone. That'll drive you crazy. So as we wrap up this section, a couple things to keep in mind are that the reason you're having to do some of these adjustments is all the pieces of the frame top are manufactured sometimes in different lots, so they may be slightly different in thickness and in flatness. Also, the final preparation, things like the finish and painting, may be a little bit different one to the other. So that's why there's areas that you have to adjust. Some of the frames from other manufacturers have single units that don't have the need for this type of alignment, but they come at the challenge of they're hard to put in very tight places. They don't go up and down spiral stairs. They don't go through very narrow multi-level stairways. So the modular frames have a lot more flexibility, but they do take some more care and feeding. And once you level it, you can almost be assured that after some use, every 2 or 3 months, you're going to come back in and re-level and re-flatten. The quilter will absolutely tell you where it's bothering the quilting process, maybe putting sticky notes or marking it with chalk or something, and you just have to follow these processes again. Please stay tuned for the next video, which will cover advanced techniques to make the frame as flat and smooth as possible. And as always, please send your comments, questions, ideas for new videos to our YouTube site, our Facebook site, or our webpage, longarm-tech.com. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.